Hey guys, before we get to Dracula vs. Van Helsing, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. That way you know every time a new video comes out. Also, check out our live show every Wednesday where we have guests and interact with you. You can be part of the show.
Look in our description to join our Discord, our Facebook group, and like us on Instagram. We're always posting new content.
Just do it. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Mike.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we are reviewing Dracula vs. Van Helsing from 25th Century Games. In this game, with amazing art, I might add, one player is going to play as Dracula, one player is going to play as Van Helsing. We have the whole city here populated with citizens. There's different territories. There's 5 different regions. And right now there's 4 humans, regular living people with nothing wrong with them, in each one. Yet. And what's happening in this game is over the course of 5 rounds, Dracula is going to try to either survive all the way to the end of the 5th round, or if he can convert all 4 people in one territory, he can win the game that way as well. Van Helsing, on the other hand, is trying to damage Dracula and kill him before that 5th night is over. How do you do that? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. So what's going to happen is we've got these tableaus here with these really cool card holders and these tiles. They're kind of cards, but they're kind of tiles, right? They're thick. They are all assigned basically in this order, and they are for each territory. They represent each territory. So they're lined up a specific way, and they're also lined up a specific way against your opponent's cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw the top one, and then you are either going to put it in your tableau, discarding the card it is replacing, or you are going to discard it. The discarded card is then what action you take. So kind of think like love letter in that way. So every number 1 through 8 is going to do a different thing. So if you play a 1, if you discard a 1, you're going to get penalized because you don't want to have 1s in your tableau. So you're going to have to reveal one of your cards, which would just mean you play it the other way. So now your opponent can see that. Number 2 is reveal the top card of the deck. So if you discard a 2, the next player, you're going to get to see what they have and what they're drawing. So if they don't discard it, you're going to know that they took that one. If you discard a 3, you're going to reveal one of your opponent's cards. So you can flip that over. Yep, just like that. Actually, yeah, that's the correct way to do it when you do that. If you discard a 4, you can swap the location of 2 of your cards. It's important to note, if you swap a revealed card with an unrevealed card, that card then becomes revealed. So this spot, basically, for all intents and purposes, is revealed for the rest of this round. If you discard a 5, you get to do another turn. And this also applies if your opponent has called for the end of the round on their turn. So super important. If you discard a 6, swap one of your cards with your opponent's, but both cards must face the same district. So it's sort of a gamble if you think that he's got a good one, or maybe it's a face-up one, right? But maybe I gave him a dud, which I believe I just did. Number 7 is to swap the trump color with another color token. So there is a color hierarchy up here, so that if we have cards of the same value, we now can tell what suit is going to win. If you discard an 8, which you can only do if there's already 6 cards here in the discard pile, you immediately end the round and your opponent does not play a turn. So for example, because Dracula goes first, what I could do is if there's 6 cards here, I could just say, I'm calling the end of the round. I'm not going to do anything else. Van Helsing player gets to finish out the round, play their last turn by drawing a card and resolving it. And so they still have the opportunity to manipulate their tableau, reveal something, things like that. But if you do that 8, ends the round immediately. Now, this is where the game gets really interesting and it's super fun, is because what we're trying to do is win the suit or win the hand for each district. So we would resolve, starting at District 1, his 5 beats my 1, so he would deal a damage to me. Ouch, yep. You suck. Then my 2 beats your 1, so I get to convert one of these guys to a vampire, My 7 beats your 5. We got another vampire. My 2 probably loses, ouch, to an 8. So that's another damage. And then my 2 probably loses again to your 8.
Oh, you had Trump suit, though.
Nope, doesn't matter.
Oh, only on a tie.
Only on a tie.
That's correct.
So if we had had one where we had lined up and there was a tie in the value, let's just do this, for example.
Yep.
We would then look at my 2 versus his 2. His 2 is higher.
That's right.
My 2 is worse. So his 2 would win. It's such a smart way to resolve ties.
Correct.
And what's really cool is if you're really suit heavy, right? Like if I had all of these reds over here, I might try to discard the card to take that action to then swap this and make it so that at least on the off chance that we tie, I'm going to win, right? It gives me a little bit of an edge. So there's lots of mitigation. And then we basically just draw and go again. We advance to the next night, draw and go again. And you're going to do that for 5 rounds. The game is super fast and very straightforward.
Yep.
Mike, give me some of your thoughts on Dracula vs. Van Helsing.
First and foremost, this is one of my favorite artists of all time. Weberson Santiago
100%.
art just knocked it out of the park. I love the box. I love the characters. I love the territories. The aesthetics of this game, just amazing. Really like these card holders too. These come in handy. I love to use card holders in general, and these are nice heavy wood ones with the game logo on it. And these aren't cards. These are like actual chits. And so these feel nice too. But I like how the game plays differently depending on what character you're using.
Yes.
You know, it's neat kind of just sinking those hits into Dracula when you're playing Van Helsing. And yet when you're Dracula, I think we both fell into that trap of trying to bite 4 people in the same territory throughout that game.
I feel like Dracula is harder.
He is a little bit harder, but I don't think he's so hard that it's like, well, you can't play this game because it's unbalanced. I think it's just hard enough to where it's more satisfying if you win as Dracula. And also, because we both were trying to do the strategy of sinking 4 hits in the same territory, meaning you have to do that 4 out of the 5 rounds, the easier way to win as Dracula is just survive.
Just survive.
Don't worry
100%.
about biting the innocent people. Just try to win tricks so that you're not losing health.
Yes.
That is an easier path to victory as Dracula. But that being said, of the games that we've played, Dracula has not won yet, but we've seen it come within the very last card of the last round.
Yes.
And so there was great tension in this game all the way up to the very end. So again, I don't think it's that Van Helsing is OP and I don't want to play this game because he's always going to win. I think he's going to win more often, but that just makes it that much more satisfying when you pull off a Dracula win. But you need to keep in mind it's not from biting 4 people. Just stay alive. And I like the difference in the 2 sides a lot.
It's a feature.
Very different.
That's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
You're playing a different game when you are Dracula versus playing as Van Helsing, and it feels intentional, and I think that is to the game's credit, because otherwise it's like, oh, it doesn't matter which one I am. Like, no. Like, gear up, you know, and like how you want to play. Get your mind ready, right, on how you want to play and how you're going to manipulate those cards, because every decision really matters, and they're all really interesting. And there's a lot of times where you're like, I don't want to do any of these things, and I got to do one of them. And I appreciate that too, right? Because it's not only happening to one side. It is definitely happening to both sides, you know, because you're going to get punished a little bit for discarding some of those lower cards, but you need to beef up that tableau because you're trying to win. You're trying to win. You play to win the game. And everything you said about the artwork. The artwork's fantastic. The flow of the game, very intuitive, very cool.
Yeah.
This game was not hard to learn. My biggest complaint about this game is, and again, if you understand the iconography on these, fine, and that's no problem. But they really missed just putting this reference right here on the back of the book. So then that way you have that out, and then you're not like, oh, where was that? And it's not like this is a huge book, but it is a little bit of an inconvenience to,
we were kind of leaving it out here. But yeah, it would be nice if it was on the back so you didn't have to have the whole book open. And I will say, after the second play, we didn't need it
No.
anymore.
We
But
didn't
the
need it.
first game, there were a few questions about the icons.
Yeah, and again, if that's legitimately the worst thing I have to say about this game.
Considering it plays in 20 minutes, after 20 minutes, you understand all of the abilities.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, that's the worst thing I've got to say about the game. It's pretty damn good.
Yep.
So, Mike, we need to rate this. How do we do that at the Board Game Rundown?
We'll score it from 0 to 10. We'll average our scores together. That becomes the rundown score, and that's what we put on BGG.
Mike, what do you rate Dracula vs. Van Helsing?
If we didn't make it clear before, this is a trick-taking game, and it's a two-player only trick-taking game, and it plays like no other trick-taking game I've ever played. I love my trick-taking games. I like how I'm basically programming my hand.
Yes.
We're not just playing hands or playing our cards, and then you take your trick. We're using these actions. We're swapping cards around. We're changing trump. And, you know, I love how I'm programming my hand as the game goes on. I love how different each side feels. I like how you can try to time the ending of the game once 6 cards are in the discard pile.
Yes.
That part is really intriguing. So I've enjoyed this game quite a bit. It's one I want to put in my collection and keep playing. And so I'm giving it an 8.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. I love good trick-taking games. I love competitive trick-taking games. Again, you nailed it when you said, like, you're programming your hand. And that's really interesting because once there's 6 cards here, now you're like, how long do I stick around and try to make my hand better? Because my opponent is doing the same thing. So the longer we let this go on, the better their hand is getting too, in theory, right? Should be getting.
Yeah.
And so that's a really interesting push-pull, you know, because we had rounds where it was like 6, I'm out, I'm done. And we've had rounds where we went through like a bunch of them just to try to see what we could do and really maximize those hands. Really interesting. I also really like Love Letter, and I love that draw a card, discard one of your cards, then resolve that effect. I think that that's a great mechanic that I've only seen in a few games. And to see it employed in this way, I think the only other drawback to this game, and I don't know how you would improve it, is that it's only 2-player.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
At all, right? Because, again, we found very convenient times to play this because it plays so fast.
Yeah.
We're waiting for something else to get set up or, you know, or a seat to open up or a couple seats to open up. It's like, oh, well, let's just play this real quick. So, I mean, it's not like it's a huge time commitment for a 2-player game. But, and I don't know how you would change that. I mean, it's intentionally and functions perfectly as a 2-player game. But, yeah.
Maybe stay tuned for the deluxe 4-player version.
Oh, yeah. So I guess I should say I give this an 8.5.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
All
I should rate it.
So that means our rundown score is an 8.3. Rounding up. No repeating.
No repeating.
No, with 2 people. You need 3 to get the point.
Yeah,
3,
I guess
3,
we
3,
do.
3, 3.
I guess
but an
we do.
8.3 is a good score for this game.
Yeah, this game's really solid. 25th Century Games. I hate them because they keep taking all of my money. They're so
I know.
good.
Seriously, they got several games coming out this year I'm looking forward to.
Solid game catalog. This was given to us as for review.
Yep.
But this would be a game that we would buy. And I think that one of us is buying this game so that we each have a copy.
Whoever
for sure.
doesn't keep it, the other person's probably buying.
Yeah. This game's that good. Really
is.
enjoy it and the artwork. So that's all I got, Mike.
Yep. If you like trick taking and you want a unique take on trick taking, definitely check this out.
Yes. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
I was Van Helsing.
And this game sucks your blood.
I'm okay adding the laugh at the end of it.